Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliette Clark, and today's guest is kind of exciting. She's a repeat from, I believe, 2020, really high energy lady. But before we get started, remember to go over to Breakthrough Author Magazine at breakthroughauthormagazine.com and get your free subscription to our monthly magazine, lots of tips and tricks. And if you're getting ready for 2023, join us for our challenge, our 10-day author platform building challenge. You can find that at www.breakthroughauthornewsletter.com. That will take you directly into our LinkedIn newsletter. No opt-in required, just subscribe and you can play right along where we're kind of done with the whole opt-in thing. No obligation. How's that? No obligation. So today's guest is Joylynn Ross, and Joylynn was on the show, I think on 2020. And really super high energy. She talks fast, she knows her stuff, and was a really great guest. And we're going to have her again. She is the author of Bestselling author, E.N. Joy. That's what she's known as. She's a national bestselling award-winning author and a literary consultant, publishing coach, and author of Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business, Ways to Achieve Financial Literary Success, and the CEO of Path to Publishing. This lady's got a lot going on. Joylynn has helped and continues to help individuals write, publish, and sell their books, as well as help them achieve literary goals and reach their measure of literary success. And we're talking to her today because she has an event coming up later this month that's Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business. So we'll talk about it a little bit more in the interview. But if you want to find out more up front, you can go to www.pathtopublishing.com/conference, see what it's all about. I am one of the speakers there, so transparency there. So I will be promoting this event as well. So, Joylynn, I'm so happy to see you again.
I'm so glad to be back. Thank you.
Good. So you guys, if you haven't listened, Joylynn was a guest back in, I think it was 2020, and she was so high energy. Like she came with her stuff ready. So I'm excited to talk about this today. Your upcoming event, Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business, because so many authors don't talk about that.
Yes, for some reason, there seems to be this unspoken war between art and money. And I don't know who started that war, but I am bound and determined to win it. Win the battle, win the war, win the fight, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we got to think outside the creativity aspect. And we have to think outside of the artistic aspect of it. We want to help and we want to serve, but it costs to do that kind of, sort of. So we kind of, sort of need to make money to move our message because it takes money to move the message. Does that make sense?
It does. And, I think part of this started with all of the spiritual books, because I find with the spiritual books that come to us that, these people, they have a message, but they're not focused as much on the money, if that makes sense. But I don't know. That is really crazy. So it all starts when we start working with authors, it starts with a plan, right?
Absolutely. It starts with a plan, because when you think about success, a lot of times we can relate success to money, but with artists and writers, there's financial success and there's literary success. So I like to say literary success and financial literary success, and you can have them both. But like you said, in order to achieve them both, you have to have a plan, because we all have our own personal measures of success. And you have to know what that looks like. You have to know what that feels like, smells like, tastes like, or else how do you know when you've reached that? So you got to know that end game. And I write fiction as well as nonfiction, but I'm writing fiction. I always write my ending first, because just like with life, if you know where you want to end up at the end of this thing, then you have a better sense of what steps you need to take to get there. So if you know where you want to end up as a writer, or author, a literary artist, a literary entertainer, then you can say, wow, this is what the end game looks like. Even if the end game is just one goal, because once we reach one goal, of course, we've got more. But now you have to have some idea of, how am I going to reach this end game? How am I going to reach this end goal? Like you said, a plan.
Yes. So let's start out. Not only the plan, we need an audience. So that plan has to include building that audience as you go along. So, we call it author platform building, but in the true sense, it's building the community around yourself. It's building what you're going to sell at the end, when you said that, that end. So when you work with your authors, how do you do that? How do you get them to actually build the plan or make the plan and then build on it? Because I think a lot of them say, yeah, I need a plan, but then they don't execute the plan.
Right. That's one thing that I teach at the conference. I don't do the fake humbleness thing. So I'm like, this conference is the literary blueprint. We have amazing information we teach. We have experts. You're one of our expert presenters, not people who know how to do something, not people who are Walmart greeters by day, book chauffeurs by night, So not that there's anything wrong with Walmart greeters. I love them. You make me forget how I had a headache before entering the store with your happy wave and smile. So nothing against Walmart greeters. But there is a difference between knowing how to do something and being an expert at doing something. And having the book ideal is great, because when you think about it, every business starts with a thought, an idea, and a concept. Every book starts with a thought, an idea, and a concept. So it only makes sense, and it only makes sense for our books to be our business. So it's easier to say than to teach, as you said. So how do I get authors to really implement and execute? Because again, you can get the blueprint. We hand you the blueprint at the conference every year. Experts like yourself, you give your clients the blueprint, but it is up to them to implement and to execute. So one of the first things I like to do is let authors know, and this is really with any business, get your audience first. Yeah. Get your audience first. And that's so easy to do now with social media, now that the world's opening back up, with going to build relationships. That N word is almost like a cuss word now, networking, going to build relationships, okay? Reciprocity, how can I help you? You don't have to work at McDonald's or a fast food restaurant. How can I help you? How can I serve you? We all just say that to each other. But then going back, get your customer first, and don't wait for your book to get ready. Right. Get ready for your book. So if you reverse that, and now you're not waiting for your book to get ready and say, okay, what's the plan? Which makes it even more frustrating to implement and execute. If you start with the implementation and the execution first by getting ready for your book, then it makes it a lot easier, and it's easier to convince, at least with me, it's easier to convince my clients that it makes more sense, and it positions you and your book for much more success. Again, get the audience first and get ready for your book. Don't wait for your book to get ready. So I don't want to say, it might be some, psychological tripping up there, but it works.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. We see so many people that write business books.
Yes.
Because they want to generate more business. And
yes.
They think that the book will do that for them. But the truth is, it's that audience all the way through, and that marketing and that building that not only brings people to your book, but brings more business in. And I think in a way, people have gotten that a little bit backwards.
Okay, let me be transparent, can I? Okay,
oh, absolutely.
Let me just be transparent and let
you know. As long as you're not
this
taking clothes off on this show, we're good.
Okay, so when I'm sharing information to certain organizations, let's just say my Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of my local Chamber of Commerce. It's like the fraternity and sorority for businesses. So I say that first line that's catchy that everybody thinks, and here's now, since books are the new business cards, so of course that's going to attract them. Books are the new business cards, but I'm saying what they want to hear, because when you're saying what people don't want to hear, if I say, books really aren't the new business cards because you have to, they don't want to hear that at that point. So they want to hear the books are the new business card. Yes, yes, yes. So yes, that's what we lead with. But it's the book that is just really the foundation. There's so many more bricks you have to lay on top of that and build. So of course we say with our advertising to businesses, since books are the new business cards and blah, 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 and et cetera. And we are lying. You know, it's not false because a lot of people are using their books as business cards, but would you just randomly start passing out your books like business cards?
Right?
A business card. I think about the cost of printing, the cost of design. So I'm not just passing things out. I have a plan. I love the P word that you started us off with. I have a plan. I have intentions on what I want to do with my business card. So if you have a plan and an intention on what you want to do with, you know, a little business card that you can get from Vistaprint for 5-10 cents each, what about that book you're getting ready to invest so much money in building? Would you do that? Would you pass that out carelessly without a plan, without intention? Mm-hmm. So yes, books can be kind of sort of like a business card. They bring credibility and validate your area of expertise. But again, it's just the foundation. There's so many other bricks that you have to lay up on that. But that's me being very transparent. Yes, I will use that line when I'm talking to businesses. Books are the new business cards. And then you get them listening because that's what they wanted to hear. Then you tell them what they need. The want for the client, customer, author, artist, writer, and then the need to be successful, for the book to be successful, for you to be successful.
So true. And the other thing about that as well is, we always call the book a nurture tool because for you and I, we sort of do the same thing. You do a little bit more book development than we do. We have a book developer that we refer to. The book is a nurture tool, but inside of that nurture tool, you and I do the same thing practically. And there are hundreds of people that do what we do.
Yes.
But that book as a nurture tool is a way for people to get to know you. So do I want to work with that person? Is that person my person? So you and I could say exactly the same thing, but someone might gravitate to you because you've got more power in your personality than I do. Like you've got that excitement, you've got that enthusiasm. I'm more of that, workhorse, and we're going to get this done. And this is the strategy. So people get to understand through the book how you work and if it resonates with what they want to do to work with you as well in a business sense. But I think when you're saying that it's a book is the new business, it's also that nurture tool to get those people to that next phase that will monetize for them.
Yes, you're so right. Think about when you go to a conference or you go to some type of event and you have the keynote speaker and they were so inspirational. I mean, we have people who say, I'm an inspirational speaker. I'm an inspirational speaker. And inspiring people it's great. It's wonderful. I'm all caught up. I'm emotional because that's what inspiration is. But when you leave that stage, what do you have from me? When you leave that stage, going back to what you said about executing, what do you have to incite me? Because that's what I'm about. You can be inspired for free. I mean, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, they have so many free YouTube videos that you can be inspired by. I want to be incited. There's an action that goes with that. And your book should drive and cause that action. Not just nonfiction, even fiction authors. I deal with fiction authors as well. And what we say in the fiction world is we write what we know first, we research what we don't know, and we make up all the rest. But somewhere in there, whether it is your personal experience or the time you put into researching, you have some level of expertise in there, something, some subject matter, something maybe even newsworthy that you can pull out of that book and share and nurture and teach and add benefit and add value to someone else's life. So again, I love it. Plan, nurture. Words for today, class, plan and nurture.
And execute. I think go to an event and just what you were talking about, they're so excited, and they say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then they don't pull the trigger. I know for me, the last event I actually went to, I sat on the plane on the way home and wrote down the list of the to-do list to mark off to get those things done. And then when I got home, I started the to-do list. So it's not just a matter of being inspired. You have to execute those things and execute. You may not execute them well, but that's the whole learning curve.
Exactly. And then that's what we're here for. We're here to help you with that. People tell me all the time, you give away so much information. You give away so much information. Oh my goodness. I don't mind teaching people everything I know. I have no problem with that because I know in this business, unless you want to end up in the ER or on somebody's couch or on meds, which, hey, you know, I'm on about two out of three of those. I'll just say, trying to do this by yourself, and that's probably why I'm on 2 out of 3 of those. Trying to do this by yourself is mentally draining, physically draining, spiritually draining. So what I know is that you are going to need some type of help, whether you choose to engage in getting help or delegate those tasks. That's one thing, but I have no problem sharing. This is what you do. I never want to hold anyone's success hostage. And if I could even describe the conference and Path to Publishing in one word, it would be access. That's who we are. Our brand is excellent, but the word to describe us, it's access, because everyone has a story inside of them, a message, a testimony. Most of us just really need the tools, the information, and the resources to be able to tell it in excellence. And that's what we want to do. We want to provide access, no gatekeepers, no strings attached, just access for you to have the information. But like you said, what are you going to do with this information now that you have it?
Yes. And, I read a statistic once that 95% of the people that you give information to will never act on it. And I find that so interesting when we work with people building their platform, we always tell them, don't be afraid to give stuff away for free, right? Because, the content, your knowledge, all of that, because there are very few people who will pull the trigger on it and actually act on it. And those are your people, that 5% that will actually pull the trigger and say, I want to do this. So that is so amazing. So I'm excited about the event. I just talked to you. I've had my presentation. I had to actually merge some presentations to get it up to an hour. I haven't done, I think the longest keynote I've done is like 45 minutes. So where do we find the event? How do we find you? And what do we need to know about the event that you probably haven't spoken about yet?
Well, it is the 5th annual Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business conference. It typically takes place in the still fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, but COVID still kind of tends to rear its ugly head because, as you know, when you're having an event, you start marketing about a year out. So a year ago, people were still a little, I don't know if I want to travel. So this year, it is all hybrid. It's 100% hybrid. It's not hybrid, it's online. Last year it was hybrid. This year, it's all virtual. It's all online. You can learn more about it at www.path2publishing.com/conference. And it's 2TO, path2publishing.com/conference. It's taking place September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. All times are Pacific. And speaking of access, we lowered the ticket price tremendously this year. For one, it's all virtual, so we don't have the overhead of the facilities and the venues. We started off having it at the Rio Hotel and Casino here. And so we've got that price point down so that more people can access it. And typically, when you register for the conference, you get lifetime access to the curriculum taught in the main sessions. So this year we removed that as well to bring the price point down even more, because our goal, like I said, let's at least get the people in the seats. Let's make it accessible, get the people in the seats. And then, like you said, those who really want to do this, not have a desire or a passion. All of that is good. But let me let you in on another little secret. You don't have to be passionate about writing to be the author of your own story.
That's
you have
true.
to be passionate about the results, the lives you're going to change, the benefit, the value you're going to add. That's what you have to be passionate about. But going back to the event, that's where you can find more information about it. Visiting the website, you can find me I'm on Facebook, Joylynn M. Ross. When I'm not adding my own 2 cents to other people's literary careers, I'm actually an author myself. I write Christian fiction under the name bestselling author E.N. Joy. So if you find her and then you find this other name, Joylynn M. Ross, and go, wait a minute, yes, I'm one and the same. So I'm out there on social media. Again, maybe you're not interested in the conference. You maybe want to have a better idea of what's this publishing thing look like they're talking about. You can visit the company homepage website, www.path2publishing.com, and we have a free publishing map. And it's 100% free. You do not even have to give me your email address because look, I don't want to have to convince you that there's one way to do this, which is the right way. I don't want to have to get your email address, send you all kinds of sequence emails convincing you that there's a right way to do this. If you truly want to deliver your message, then I'll see you on the other side of that publishing map. Okay.
You know what? That was so amazing because I've been promoting our 10-day challenge and I'm doing it with the LinkedIn newsletter. I'm like, no opt-in. I'm done with opt-ins. I'm done with sending y'all email. I mean, I do send out a weekly email, but the list building, no obligation, show up, take the value, and we hope to see you, executing it. So Joylynn, thank you. I'm really excited to be speaking at the event and thank you for sharing it.
Thank you so much.